Look at me being a YouTuber and having candles in the background. What? Also, I may have went overload with highlighter, but like, we don't have to talk about that. Okay. You guys know what pisses me off so much is human beings not being able to understand the concept of infinity. And you're probably like, wait, what are you even talking about right now? Let me actually talk normally. Okay, so a month ago I watched the movie The Man Who Knew Infinity, and it's about this Indian mathematician who God would send him intuitional formulas. I mean, is that a coherent sentence? I think so. So God would send him formulas and he would be able to create formulas, and basically he had this intuition with numbers and infinite numbers and stuff like that. And it's such an interesting movie, even though it sounds so boring. You're probably like, I just finished my math exam, I don't want to watch this movie, but please watch it. I swear it's so interesting. I loved it so much. Anyways, an interesting concept that came up in this movie was intuition versus proof. Intuition versus proof. And I found that so interesting. I'm sitting on a spinny chair, which is probably the worst thing I could do for a video. But anyway, so it was intuition versus proof. And how they showed this is basically the mathematician who believed in God, who would get these infinite and intuitional formulas. He didn't feel the need to prove how he got to his end formula, his end equation, I guess. I mean, it's a formula. Anyways, he didn't feel the need to prove it. But then another guy who didn't believe in God, he's like, I need proof. How did you get here? And the mathematician tried to figure out proof. He tried to figure out how to get there. But in the end, he's just like, I don't need proof. God is sending me these intuitions, and maybe you should listen to your intuition more. And it started an inner conflict, I guess, within myself, this movie. Sorry if I'm really low down the frame. Anyways, it started an inner conflict, and for days after watching this movie I started thinking do I follow my intuition? Do I need proof? And I think I'm a little bit of both. I mean, obviously I believe in God. I'm a hijabi Muslim and I was born into Islam, but I feel like it's the biggest blessing I could have ever it's just being brought up a Muslim. Anyways, what was I saying? This is what happens when I open the camera and talk. I'm like, what are my thoughts? I don't know. Okay, yeah. So I was being brought up a Muslim. My English is so good. I was brought up a Muslim, and growing up, my parents would tell me our religion is the right religion and everyone else's religion is the wrong religion. And as a kid, you just grow up I believe that makes sense. But then I started thinking but would Christian parents tell their children our religion is the right religion and your religion is everyone else's religion is the wrong? Would Buddhist parents tell their children that? How do I know that my parents are right? How do I know that? How do they know that our religion is the right religion? And it's this thing where I want proof. What makes our religion better than everyone else's? So I was probably 10 when I started thinking about stuff. I'm like, does God really exist? As a 10-year-old, as 10-year-olds do. Because I just wanted to see if I truly believe in my faith, the faith that I was born into. And that's when I started Googling, and thank God Google was there. And that's when I realized that through practicing my religion, I just have this warm heart. It just feels so comforting to me. I feel so at peace when I pray. I feel so at peace when I read Quran, when I hear Quran. I just feel at peace, and it was at this part that I felt my intuition was all I needed to believe in my faith. And obviously there are a lot of proofs in the Quran and just around us that show that God exists. But there was a line where I needed to trust my intuition in order to see those proofs, in order to see, just to be able to see clearly. And in the movie, I think that was clear. It was we do not need proof for everything. You just gotta trust your intuition sometimes. And I feel some people have better intuition than others, and that gets you further in life, I guess. I wouldn't say I have a strong intuition, but I also think I do. I don't know. It just depends, I guess. So that's this thing that I wanted to talk about intuition versus proof. And I want to know what you guys think, because sometimes I'm like, for example, if I'm doing something, I'm like, my intuition isn't enough. I need proof. For example, picking a university, I can't just go fully with my intuition. I need proof. Is it highly ranked? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? With different things, you can't just go with your intuition. I'm not just talking about God's existence. I'm talking about different things. Now, for me, God's existence comes in a certain way as well. Like, the fact that I do believe that God exists comes in the fact of infinity. The concept of infinity pisses the living cells out of me. Is that a thing? I don't know. But it pisses me off because I don't fully understand the concept of infinity. And I don't think anyone does. Because I feel like human beings, God didn't make us to understand everything. And for example, in maths, there's exponents. I sound like such a nerd right now. I'm not like the biggest fan of maths, but I mean, some parts intrigue me. But like exponents, the line never truly reaches the number. And that's because there's infinite decimals between two numbers. But then that confuses me. It's like, there's two limits. How come there's infinite decimals within two limits? Is it all made up? Are people lying to us? I don't know. Probably some philosopher or mathematician is gonna be like, this is wrong, Pete, like, and swearing at me like, I'm sorry, I'm not a philosopher, I don't know. But yeah, infinity. So someone once told me, I don't remember who it was, that the human brain, like the smartest person, only knows 1% of knowledge, and we all know less than 1% of full knowledge, you know, like the universe, the galaxy, the infinite universe, I guess. We only know a fraction, a very small fraction of knowledge, and we just keep, you know, growing as humans evolve, finding out more science and stuff like that. I love watching Orphan Black. It makes me think of this stuff. Anyways, so apparently on the day of judgment is when humans know 100% of knowledge, and I'm like, what? That makes sense, because the human brain is incapable to imagine, to understand some concepts. We're just not made to know that level of knowledge, I guess. For example, heaven. You know how they say heaven is such a beautiful place that the human brain can't imagine it. And I'm like, but I can imagine such beautiful things. Like, is heaven better than that? And that's when you just have to just trust your intuition. Like I can imagine such beautiful sceneries. I see pictures on the internet of such beautiful things. I've been to such beautiful places, but it's like heaven is so much more beautiful than that. And it's like, that's when I trust, you know, the theory of you knowing 1% of your knowledge, like you not knowing fully. The light just went weird, sorry. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is an interesting conversation starter. I probably didn't make full sense in this video. But I don't know, like, the conclusion of this video is that infinity pisses me off so much because I don't fully understand it. But I feel like that's the beauty of life. You don't need to know everything, but then you do. I don't know, like, we feel the need that we need to know everything. And especially recently I got to this phase where I question everything, and then I have to draw a line. I'm like, I can't question every single thing. There's just some things that I need to trust my intuition fully, and I don't need step-by-step proof for everything. And that was the conclusion in the movie The Man Who Knew Infinity. That's the conclusion that they reached. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know how you got to where you got to. You just need to trust your intuition sometimes. And I guess that's the summary of this video. But I want to know what you guys think. So first of all, do you feel like you can trust your intuition, or do you need proof for everything, step-by-step proof? And the second thing is, do you feel like your existence, your belief that God exists, or your lack of belief that God exists, does that come from your intuition, or does that come from proof? Like, I'm interested to know, like, genuinely. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this where my thoughts don't make sense at all and they're so incoherent and you just don't understand what I'm saying. Alright, awesome. Sometimes I just sit down and I'm like, at the end of like filming one of these videos, and I'm like, did I make any sense whatsoever? And then I edit them and I'm like, probably not, but let's hope someone understands. Am I right? I don't know. Infinity annoys me, man. Anyways, subscribe. Peace. Bye.